Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Good day and welcome. I'm Joey, and this is Orange 20. I want to talk today a bit about becoming a game master. When it comes to a tabletop role playing game, I actually prefer running to playing, which might make me the minority. I hate being confined to a single character, and when you're running the game, you never have to wait your turn. However, I've had a lot of my players decide that they want to try to take a hand at running the game. I think it's great, but things can be a little different on the other side of the screen. So I want to let you know a little bit about what you can expect when you make that transition. One of the first things I caution you about is you shouldn't compare yourself too much to the game master you're used to playing with. Down that path lies madness. If you're running your first game, you are less experienced than whomever you've played with before, just by basic math. If you expect your first game to be as nuanced and complex as their 10th or 100th, or in my case, 30,000th game, you're setting yourself up for failure. Even if you're a natural as a game master, there's always more to learn. I've been doing this for 30 years, and there's still things I could be doing better. I switch games pretty often, so I don't always know the rules of the specific game I'm running well enough. Because I don't know the rules as well, I often run less deadly games, because I can't balance an encounter on a razor's edge, and I don't want my players to lose their characters because of that. I don't know the deep lore of most of the game systems which I do run. There are starting game masters who could do all of that much better than I can. That's all okay. You can only learn by doing. You will find your own style by playing. I tend to focus on character first, plot second, and rules third. The people who keep coming back to my table love this about my games, and forgive me for constantly having to ask Renarin, how does grappling work in this game? Every single time. I mentioned something about that in the first video of this series. Here, because that's where I keep it. I started making these videos on the same basic philosophy I'm preaching here. I've learned a lot about filming and editing just by doing videos, and I still have a lot to learn. But I think this video looks way better than the first one. The old angles made my fat baby face look fatter and babyier. And if I hadn't just started making these videos, I wouldn't be better at it today. And I plan to get better at this in future. I'll probably someday want to hide this video at the very bottom of a quarry. The cool thing about this is you're likely going to be your own worst critic. You will notice things that are not working in your game far more than any of your players will. They're generally having a blast with their friends, exploring the world you've created. Very few people who get into role-playing games get a chance to play as often as they like. So they're enjoying their character and all the best parts of your adventure. You may be sitting there, stressing over the fact that you forgot to name the innkeeper. And they walked past the pit trap in the first hall of the dungeon, and you forgot to have it go off, and you can't remember the kobold's AC. But no one else at the table is noticing those issues. And even if they are, most players won't care enough to hold it against you. If you make a mistake and you feel you do need to change it, again, your players will understand. Tell them what went wrong. Oh, I misread the goblin's wisdom save. He actually should have gone down under your charm person. Do you guys mind if we rewind? Players will generally let you do this. And eventually, you learn more advanced techniques for correction. A surge of magical energy appears in front of the goblin's eyes. He blinks and looks at you. There's something off about the magic forces here. But your charm person has suddenly taken effect. By retconning like this, you give your players the advantage of the rules being off and add a new layer of mysteriousness to your dungeon. That being said, I rarely retcon anything that isn't in the player's favor, unless that retcon is awesome. So when Usher casts a fly spell, and Sebastian has gone back to pick up Rhea, but as they return, Usher forgot that they were depending on him, and casts a wall of ice, another concentration spell, I did later in the round go back and have Sebastian and Rhea fall and have them try to catch themselves as they tumbled down the Demon Spire with a very low acrobatics roll required. Because I didn't want them to die like that, I just thought it was awesome if they fell. Or if I forgot the pit trap on the way in, I may move it to a different empty hallway, or have it trigger on their way out. Tabletop role-playing games are collaborative, and players want their characters to go on exciting adventures. They will let you change things to make them more exciting. They're happy for the opportunity to play, and they generally aren't looking for the opportunity to criticize you. Remember though, the game is about the players. If you're running a game to show off the awesome character you wish you were playing instead of following their adventures, please just don't. While I love Doctor Who, I do not run this game. Because the rules basically say, everyone sit around and wait for the Doctor to solve the problem. I don't like that style of play when there's a player playing the Doctor, and I definitely wouldn't do it when I'm running the Doctor. I hate a game with a GMPC. Game Master PC is the awesome person the Game Master wishes they could be when playing in someone else's game, but they never got the chance, so they make you suffer through it in theirs. Just sit back and let the players do what they do. In D&D, this means triumph over the forces of evil that infest the land. In Vampire, this means to plot with the forces of evil that infest the land. In Cthulhu, this means to cower in terror and wait to die from the forces of evil that infest the land. But they should be the active players in the story, doing whatever that game happens to be about. If you let them go ahead and do that, they will love the game. And what you need to do is provide them a setting and a stimulus in order to do what they do. You also want to make sure that you do ask for advice. I find a lot of people run their first game for their previous game master. You should ask them what worked and what didn't. Most of the time, on top of helping you out to get better at running your game, they'll also be able to mention something amazing you did that they never thought of. You'll have something unique in the style of games you run that no one else that they play with does. You should ask your players for advice as well. They won't understand everything that's happening behind the screen unless they've also run games before, but some of that advice will still be really useful to you. If people are telling you, oh, the fights were too hard, you know you need to look at adjusting it. If people say, I got really lost trying to figure out what Nana Grundles wanted, adjust in future. You might want to make your fights easier or add more clues when someone's being mysterious and has a mystery for them to solve. I'm going to talk more about mysteries in a later episode. You don't want to overcorrect what you're doing. Make just a few tiny tweaks in your game and just keep trying. You'll get better with every game you run. You need to be running them to find your own style and be able to take it from there. No one is going to be as hard on you as you are on yourself. And if you want to be running games, then you just have to do it. It's back! This episode is brought to you by True Son of the Empire. This is a book I wrote. I want you to buy it so that I can have money, so that I can quit my job and make more and more videos. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy what I'm doing here, please hit the like button or subscribe down below. And leave me a comment if there's a topic you'd like me to cover in a future episode. Thanks.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Not all. So I wrote this script, and it doesn't make any sense.